tell me about your studio.
My studio? Okay. So, I have a little studio in my house. I've kind of converted my living room to a teaching space, and
Are you based out of Carver or Chapel Hill?
I'm Chapel Hill. And actually, I'm really near to the border of Chapel Hill and Durham. So my students come to my house, and they have weekly lessons, and I'm teaching from 6-year-old beginners to adults in their 40s. I have a pretty wide range. And I think every teacher maybe kind of finds the age range or skill level that they feel most comfortable teaching, and I've discovered I really like teaching beginners who like have never touched the instrument before. That's my favorite. I think I'm good at teaching all levels.
Do you feel like they're easier to craft because they're beginners, so they don't have a preset
Exactly.
idea?
Like sometimes it's difficult to kind of inherit a student from another teacher that didn't, teach them good like foundational techniques, and then you have to go back and work on correcting bad habits. But each student, is unique, and it's so rewarding to be working with someone and finally learn how that student learns and be able to teach to their learning style. And like when they finally you figure that out, and then they figure it out, it's like there's this click, and that's really, really rewarding. So I have, right now I'm working with some middle school kids. They're getting ready for all-state orchestra auditions.
Aww.
So we have a plan of what they're going to practice and when, and all my students keep a cello journal, which has been a really useful tool for me. And so I write like weekly assignments in the journal, kind of to keep track of what we've worked on in that lesson, so they know what they have to go home and practice. And when they come back to their lesson the next week, I can look, see what we worked on, follow up on that. And then I also give them sometimes journaling assignments or drawing assignments, because I think studying the cello is not all about actually playing the cello. There's a lot of like mental work that has to go on too. So sometimes they'll have to journal about a piece that they're practicing on, and I'll give them a list of questions they have to answer. Like, usually what I ask them is, okay, take out the piece and ask, what do I need to practice in the piece? And the next question is, what measures or bars or notes specifically? So they narrow down what they're going to work on. And then the next question they have to answer is, how am I going to practice it? This is usually the hardest one. And is that going to be, am I going to practice it in like really, really slowly? Am I going to practice it until I can do it 5 times perfectly? Am I going to practice it with separate bows instead of slurs? And so then they have to do the practice. Then there's another question they answer. What went well and what can be better next time? And then the assignment starts all over again. They've determined what they need to work on next time, so next time they start from the beginning. So I'll have them do a series of journal entries that week that's written, really gets the gears in their head turning, so they're really thinking about what they're practicing and not just playing it top to bottom, saying, okay, I did it. So the cello journal is a really useful tool, and I've used it just to, whenever I sit down and practice, sometimes I just jot down a list of the things that I covered in my practice that day, or sometimes I'll end up writing like really in-depth observations. That's something that really, really helped me through conservatory and graduate school and get ready for my exams and my recitals. So that's a big, important tool in my studio. So my studio, it's slowly growing. It started off really small, but my name gets passed around, and little by little, more students come. So hopefully we'll have a nice little recital at the end of this semester.
Awesome.
Yeah.